Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today we're doing a shell challenge, and this is actually one that I created recently, and it's probably one of the most ridiculous, horrible shapes I've ever created for a shell challenge. I apologize in advance. As you can see here, it kind of looks like a robot. It's got lots of little pointy out bits, and there are 2 floors. If you're interested in partaking for yourself, it is up on my gallery. My origin ID, or EA ID, is Gryphi, and all of the information you need is here. Submitting by July 14th for a chance to be toured in a video. The hashtag is Gryphi Yeehaw because horses are coming out soon, and basically just don't move or delete the existing walls, but you can add a floor plan, decks, roofing, etc. All of that. Submit by the 14th, and we're gonna take a look at what y'all are able to do with this horrible shape. But without further ado, we're gonna jump into what I did with it, and good luck everyone. Jumping into the speed build now, the first thing I'm doing is rotating the build because I actually tried to create the front on the original front I created for this shell, and it just wasn't coming together. I ended up scrapping it. I spent so long and I bulldozed it. So we're starting again. I rotated the shell. That's something you can definitely do if you would like to. You just can't like move or delete the walls, but you can rotate it as like whatever direction you need on the lot. I just don't add anything extra, and this came out so much better. It's actually, I'm very surprised that I was able to come up with something. There's some parts that are a little bit weird because of like the single tile bump outs that I added. I blame myself for that. I did it to myself. I'm sorry for doing it to you too if you decide to tackle this shell. But I was actually really pleasantly surprised with the shape I was able to come up with for this build. It kind of looks like a normal like suburban house, if you don't look too close, I guess. So I'm excited to share it with you. You can kind of see it coming together now, doing all of this roofing. I added some chimneys on there because half walls are totally okay to be added on. And so that's what I ended up doing here. And there's a couple of funky spots. Like there's this angular piece over here that I just put a half wall on top of and left it. I also added a little bit of a driveway here, so it looks like it's going into a garage space on the side. There was like an indent there that I just thought worked nicely for that idea. And then I got a couple more roofs over here. And at first I was thinking that was going to be another entrance to the house, but it ends up just being where a window is in the end. So for a little while, I do have a pathway leading up to a window, which is kind of weird, but I do realize it later on and delete it. So no worries on that. But just figuring out a front door here. I actually can't remember if I kept that one from the Growing Together pack or not. But one thing I did do, because upstairs I wasn't liking how big that flat space was, but I couldn't add any walls. So what I decided to do was add another roof piece and try and make it look like there were different sections up here. So you'll see what I mean as we go. So there's a smaller roof there, and I put a column there. So it's all on one flat wall, but it kind of looks like a little bit of a bump out. So I was able to separate that section off and have windows in those areas. And I think that really helped with the facade of the house. So I was glad that I decided to do that. And I stacked a couple of windows here. Most of the windows and doors I'm using are from base game. And then I ended up using a brick on the bottom floor, which is one of my favorite bricks in the game. It's from Realm of Magic, and the top floor is a siding that is from the Growing Together pack. Another really nice one in the game. But this is where I was thinking of putting a door, but I put a window instead, so that little pathway just doesn't make any sense, but I will get rid of it a little bit later. And just getting a lot of these little touches, like trims and stuff, and figuring out what pieces are going to be under what paint, and moving all of that around, and trying to just be happy with it because it took me a really long time. I did build this over on stream first. I made the shell, and then we decided to tackle it live on stream, and it just took a really long time. If you're curious on how that went, the VOD is available on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Gryphi, and you can see like the first attempt at making this shell work and failing before we got to this one. And I did most of it on stream, and I finished a little bit of it off stream. So if you were in that stream, you didn't see all of the bedrooms being decorated. So you'll be able to see that in this video. But now I am moving on to landscaping, getting lots of trees and bushes and flowers, basically taking notes of what's in the background of this area. We're building on one of the lots that's on a strip of like 4, 5, 6, something like that, lots in Newcrest. And so I just wanted to get a bunch of plants you see in Newcrest and some that just looked like they would look nice here. So I'm technically using some plants from Mount Komorebi that came with Snowy Escape, but I thought they looked nice and I wanted mostly greenery here. So that's what I opted for. And then I decided it would look nice if it was like in its own little planter. So I ended up having a couple of those out the front of this lot. It looks very structured, but I was quite happy with it. I think it's a really cute build in the end, especially for such a weird shape that I gave it. I don't know why I did that. I'm probably not going to do such a weird shell shape ever again, unless y'all really like this. Then maybe I will. Maybe we'll try and make them more and more challenging every time, especially because I put myself through it as well. So it's not like I'm just having everyone else do it. I always tackle them too, and so we all suffer together. But yeah, submissions, if you'd like to tackle the shell, are by the 14th of July, and I'm hoping the following week, like a couple of days before Horse Ranch comes out, to be able to post a tour video of a collection of them that I pick out from the gallery. It's always a lot of fun to see what everyone does, but I usually can't tour all of them because there's always a lot of submissions, but it is so fun to go through them. And of course, it's also fun to just do a shell challenge. I do them sometimes from other people in the Sims community. It's always a blast. So if you're interested in doing the shell challenge, please do it just because it sounds like fun, not because you just want to be toured, because I might not be able to get to everyone. I just wanted to mention that for you to keep in mind, because I always feel so bad when people get upset when I can't look at all of them. But I would love to see what you do with it. Please share. Oh my goodness, this is such a weird shape, and I'd be so curious to see how everyone tackles it differently, because it was just very difficult to floor plan in particular. Also roofing. Roofing was a nightmare, and I like roofing, so I know it's going to be a difficult one for a lot of us. Anyway, the floor plan here is actually coming together. It's pretty open concept. On the bottom floor, you walk in and you're in the living room. Towards the back, we have the kitchen, and then off to the side is the dining space. And I just put down some random furniture here to kind of place it out to get an idea of where I want to put everything so I can remember. I do that in a lot of my builds, and we have a primary bedroom downstairs and 2 additional bedrooms upstairs. So this is a 3-bedroom house. I was pretty happy with that. I didn't think we were going to have this much space. So it's a pretty spacious house. The bedrooms upstairs are a little bit smaller, and the one downstairs is a little bit of a weird shape. But you know what? It works out in the end. I feel like in real life, houses are sometimes kind of weird shapes, at least the floor plans. You can have some wonky shaped rooms. But these are the counters I'm going to be using in the kitchen from Jungle Adventure. I love these ones so much. I feel like I've been raving lately about Jungle Adventure. It just has so many beautiful items that I feel like I use a lot. So using them again here, and then I just use like a base game fridge and a really nice stove, which I think is from the Cool Kitchen Stuff pack. I also got a nice rug in the kitchen. I believe we get one from, this one is from the Werewolves pack. I just thought that the green looked so pretty in here. I wanted to add a little bit of color to the inside, and I guess I was inspired by the fact that the outside of the house has green on it. I know in real life that's not necessarily realistic, trying to blend in the color of the outside of the house to the inside, but for some reason in The Sims I like to do that, so that's what I did there. And then just getting some other clutter in the kitchen. We have a knife block over in the corner, as well as some utensils for the stove. I'm going to be getting a like console table sort of thing in the middle of the kitchen to act as a sort of like additional prep space. It's not functional that way. Your Sims need an actual counter, but I like to do that sometimes in kitchens because I think it looks really nice. But we'll be grabbing that here shortly. First, I'm getting a range hood for over the stove. I've been using the one that came with the most recent expansion pack, Growing Together, because it is so nice. It's so simple. I feel like it always blends in, and so it's just been my go-to lately. Anyway, here is that little table that I had mentioned, and we just got a fruit bowl up on top of that, rotating it a little bit. And I can't remember if I ended up putting a chandelier in here. For some reason, I feel like I do. But this is going to be the dining space right off of that, and so I'm just picking out a table. I decided on this one from Get Together. I just thought that the wood tones were quite nice. Obviously, there's a lot of different wood tones going on in here, but I feel like they blended together quite nicely. I think it looks just so warm and cozy and comforting in this space, and that's really what I was going for. So hopefully you agree. And then I thought that this pendant light was so pretty. I want to say that one's from Get to Work. I'm not entirely sure though, but it's not one I use very often, and I don't think it's a super popular one. Let me know what you think of it, but I really like it. So I ended up using that in here, and we got some sunflowers on the table as well, and then just getting some more curtains on the windows. And I believe I ended up adding the parenting board in here so your Sims can like set a curfew and stuff for their kids. Because I was imagining a family lived here. I do have 2 kids' bedrooms upstairs, which I'll talk about when we get to them. And then I also wanted to have a spot for your Sims to like hang some portraits and stuff. So I put some empty portrait frames there for your Sims to like put their own photos in, which I think is such a cool thing that they added. I haven't used it much myself because I haven't done a lot of gameplay in a while, but I do really like adding that because I know a lot of players enjoy putting portraits of their Sims family. I know when I used to do a lot of gameplay, I always did that. So having those that you can just like click and drag your photos into is so cute. I really enjoy that. But this is going to be that living room space using a couch from Cottage Living and a base game chair. And I think the colors in here look so incredibly cozy. It's got a nice mirror by the front door and some clutter behind the couch as well. I also brought in this brick as like an accent wall over here, and I'm still so happy about The Sims adding more swatches to these base game books. It just looks so nice. I feel like I'm using a brand new item, and that was just one item getting some new swatches. I hope they continue to do that with other items. I know over the last few years they did that with like windows and doors. There were a couple of floorings that got some new swatches. I hope they do that with like wallpapers and a couple of other base game items, but those books were such a welcome addition for new swatches, so I'm quite happy with that. Anyway, over here by the back door, I'm just getting a place to hang up like your coat and stuff, as well as a mirror to check your stuff before you leave, and I believe I get some aprons in here as well. I like adding those to the kitchen. I feel like that's an item when that got added, I believe in an SDX drop a couple of years ago. It instantly became an item that's in almost every build I ever make. It's just such a nice item. Like, I don't have an apron, so like I do. I don't know where it is. It's a TARDIS apron from Doctor Who, but I feel like that's not something I have hanging up in my kitchen, but for some reason in The Sims, it feels like a no-brainer. You need to put it in every kitchen. I don't know why that is. Let me know if you also hang up an apron in every kitchen in The Sims, since that is a base game item. I'd be very curious to know because, like, I don't have that hanging up in my actual kitchen, so I'm not sure why I feel compelled to in The Sims. Anyway, this is the downstairs bathroom. It's pretty simple. I have the same counters that I used in the kitchen, and then we're hanging up some towels and some of these bathrobes, getting a plunger and a couple of decorations on the sink as well. So we have some toothbrushes and a hair dryer and all of that, which are also some items that I feel like I'm really enjoying having from the bathroom clutter kit. I know a lot of people are not super happy about the clutter kits because it's really small items, but I feel like I've been really enjoying the items that came with those because I wanted a clutter kit for years, or a clutter stuff pack originally before kits happened. And now that we have some clutter kits, I feel like they're items that I use a lot, especially the everyday clutter kit. That one I use in like every single build. Anyway, this is the downstairs primary bedroom, and what I did with those weird little bump outs is I put some cabinetry in there. Those are like kitchen cabinets, but they kind of look like they could be closed wardrobes. And I just thought that that was a nice way to fill in the space. It looks like there's built-in wardrobes like for 2 Sims that share this room. So that's what I opted for. And then I got a TV mounted on the wall and a little console table under it over here. And then we're moving on into the kids' rooms. So one of these I was imagining had 2 kids in it and the other one has a teenager. I'm going to actually be switching the order around. So the beds are going to be in the opposite rooms. Here that is. Because the layout was just going to work a little bit better. And I picked out the beds I was going to use and the swatches and stuff before I started decorating. So as you can see, those are in there, but I haven't added anything else yet. I also decided to block off that little box in this room just to make it a little bit easier for decorating the space, laying out the room. And I think this room ends up being really cute. It's purpley and like pink and orange. And I really like these new beds that we got with Growing Together with the clouds on them. There's also a swatch of a base game rug that we got that matches this, but I didn't end up using it in this room. I opted for this other purple rug from Growing Together, or not Growing Together. It's from Parenthood. There's so many packs now. It's really hard to keep track of them. And this adorable little fox lamp, that's a base game item as well. And it was just such a cute one that was added when infants got added to the game. I love that item so much. Also, these curtains don't really match the room, but I kind of liked that. I enjoy making it so my kids' rooms are a little bit mismatched because I find that quite realistic. At least it was for me when I was a kid. My room was like every color of the rainbow, nothing matched, except for the excessive amounts of cheetah print. That was the only matching thing, and even that clashed quite a bit. So I like to just add a little bit of that to my kids' rooms because they're probably picking out some of the items they find as they're out shopping with their parents and not really thinking about how it works together with the rest of the space. Just like, I like this, I'm going to get it. And to be honest, I'm kind of guilty of that still nowadays. And so my space is kind of cluttered and I'm eclectic a little bit. I don't know. I feel like there's not really a distinct style in my apartment other than like gray and geeky. There is so much like Doctor Who stuff and Squishmallows and just like we also have a lot of Halloween decor that we keep out year round because we really enjoy that aesthetic. But anyway, this is the teenager's room. Just getting this beautiful bed in here that I already placed down. I also have some posters on the walls, this really pretty plant. I also put that little mirror with all of the nail polish and hair clips and stuff around it on the bedside table. That's a functional mirror. Your Sims can go ahead and like plan their looks at if they'd like to. That one actually came with the Everyday Clutter Kit. I had mentioned that earlier, and I think it is such a nice piece. It's not one I use very often, but I thought it worked nicely in this room. And the Sim also has a computer desk over in the corner, which I thought was quite cute. And I also get a bookcase over here. This room is a little bit of a weird layout, but I think it looks really realistic, and I was happy with how I was able to lay it out. And I think putting the bed against the wall like that is quite realistic. But anyway, we're back in the hallway. I wanted to add some sort of item that was functional up here, so I ended up adding a bonsai tree. Just because it's not something I use very often, my first thought was to put an easel, but I use that too often, so I opted for the bonsai tree instead. But you could swap that out for any item you'd like that's just one tile, or get rid of it completely. I just had a little bit of space in the hallway, and I decided, why not utilize this? So then in the backyard here, I'm just working on some landscaping. I also get a table and chairs, as well as a barbecue, our trash can, although I think I put one out by the garage space too, so there might be multiple trash cans outside, but that's fine. At least I didn't forget one. I think having more than one is better than having zero. But this is going to be the table and chairs, and then I also end up getting, I believe, a couple of planters in this backyard, as well as some monkey bars for your kids to enjoy. And I brought some of these plants from the front yard back here as well, just to make it more cohesive so it wasn't just shrubs back here. But that's pretty much it for this build. I really like how it came out. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I hope you will take the challenge and try the shell challenge because it definitely was a challenge. It's such a weird shape. Good luck. I am so sorry. And yeah, if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Thank you so very much for watching. Enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.